People have different views on what they would say trance is. I feel like a lot of people look at it as, you know, so quick to label music and say what this is and what that is, and this is this subgenre. What does trance mean to you, and as opposed to just in general what you feel trance is, as well as what other people are producing, and the whole trance thing?
I think for me personally, when I first started listening to trance music, it was around the same sort of time that a lot of CDs would come out, so like Trance Nation. So you'd have the word trance labelled on these CDs, and at that time, a lot of the big trance acts were universally considered to be. So the four big ones were Paul Oakenfold, Tiesto, Paul van Dyk, Armin van Buuren. So those guys were the artists, and who, like I said, most people consider to be trance DJs, the biggest and the best. So the sounds that those guys were playing at that time, for me, is what trance is, because that was what it was being branded as on CD compilations, magazines, and by everybody that was listening to that kind of music at the time. So I think what's happened is that sound that those guys were playing back then is kind of changed. Well, no, the sound hasn't changed. What those guys were playing has changed. So then, because they were known to be trance DJs at that time, then when they were playing stuff that was more, say, some of it was more commercial sounding, some of it had more housey kind of elements to it. Then people like deadmau5 came along, and Armin was supporting deadmau5's music in the early stages. Then Tiesto changed the sound completely and stuff. Where it's like, it's just caused this whole.
You feel like people sometimes still associate trance with them because of what they used to play?
They did, yeah. Whereas, like, for instance, if you listen to one of my favourite sets ever was Armin van Buuren live at Club. I think it's pronounced EAU. Okay. EAU.
That rings a bell.
Live at Club O, I think it was 2002. He played like 8 hours or 9 hours, and so if you listen to that set from Armin van Buuren and then compare it to, say, something that he's been doing, one of his sets from the last 4 or 5 years, it's a much different sound going on throughout the whole mix. It's a very different spectrum of. If Armin was to say an 8-hour set like now, he, generally speaking, since I've been seeing him since 2005, I think I saw him the first time, and I saw him do a few 8-hour sets in that time. But he started off he built it up very, from very sort of 130 BPM up to sort of 140. But that set from 2002 it kind of gets going really quick, It's full of like classic trance tracks now, that what we call classic trance tracks. So I think the same thing for Tiesto. I mean, doesn't play trance now, but I think that attachment to those guys has always been trance DJs for so long, and now they've branched out into very diverse sounds and stuff. Has caused a lot of people to. Well, I think it's just trance has just changed in terms of it's what one person thinks trance is based on what they hear and associate it has changed from someone else and someone else. Whereas 10-15 years ago, it was quite universally considered that you heard something and okay, that's trance, and not many people would disagree with you. Whereas, like I said, in the car earlier on, we were talking about it, and someone said one of their friends said that WW their favourite trance DJs. But it's like, well, you know, compare my music or our music to their music, and if they're making trance, what are we making?
Yeah, it's nothing alike.
Yeah, so there's that kind of argument and confusion going on between people, and I think a lot of people these days they don't. For the most part, there are a few exceptions. But they don't listen to the sound of 2000. They don't listen to the sound of 2002, 2004, 98, when all this trance kind of started, kind of thing. So they hear these DJs who are labelled as trance DJs or something or other, or mislabeled or whatever, and then that's their interpretation of trance music. So it's only when if they do listen back to older music, they'll be like, oh,
wait, what? This is trance?
This is trance. Like, this sounds nothing like
it.
And vice versa.
Not realizing that that's just where today's sound came from. Was it all started somewhere?
Yeah, for us, I think it's nice that people recognise us as sort of still in touch with that vintage trance sound. A lot of our productions, even the latest release, In Your Mind, the write-up was written like the word vintage trance is written in the write-up. So it's nice to be still playing that sound, which is what we love. It's what we grew up with. It's what trance is to us, and it's what I can't see us changing our sound, because we love it at the end of the day. And I think with production, you've got to make what you believe in.
Okay.
And you have to, and that's just the way we see it.
Okay. Who would you say are your biggest inspirations, as well as just people that have molded you along your career?
Fadi's obviously the biggest inspiration to us in a sense of what he's done in the last 6 years, I guess, 6-7 years, where he's gone from to where he is now, and what he's done for that sound to still keep it going, very much so. John and Callahan as well, never really changed his sound in that whole time. Personal inspirations to us in the dance music, classic Tiesto, Paul van Dyk from the early 90s through until around about 2009. Used to really enjoy his music. I feel he's changed a little bit in his sound, and I used to go and see him every single time in the UK. And I don't feel his music is it's different. Everyone's changed. Like Tiesto's changed, Armin's changed.
Tiesto's kind of gone off the other complete end.
People change. I mean, Paul Oakenfold went from being a huge trance DJ, the biggest in the world, into sort of doing soundtracks and stuff, and then playing at trance gigs. But then what he was playing was totally different sounds. What he was playing a couple of years, and then in the last 4 years, he's come back to playing that classic trance fluoro sound again. So it's I don't know. For us, we've never changed our sound or really gone away from what we started with. But certainly the bigger guys in the scene have changed their sounds, and with their albums, or with their tempo of production, if you wish. It's changed a lot. I think it's always changing. Whether I think with music, it's personal preference. It's what you like. You can't. It's one of those things where you hear something and you're either going to like it, or you're going to think it's okay, or you're not going to like it. There's no. It's a real personal thing. You can't be forced. No one can put a gun to your head with music and be like, you will like this. You know? So it's like it's personal to you. So for us, I feel like the best years of trance music where all the big guys in the scene were all, you know, playing it, was unfortunately sort of days gone by, and I don't know whether it'll come back to that way. It's difficult to know really, but all we really can do is do what we love, do what we believe in, and that is that sound still. And we just have to focus on our own sort of production, and try not to get involved with what other people are doing, and oh, this person was amazing back then but now they're like this, and it's just, you know, whatever, just focus on ourselves and do, you know, do what we do best.
So many people, I think, fixate too much on what trance was as opposed to what it is now, and people just like don't want to accept is that life's about changing and people constantly evolve. Nothing is ever going to stay the same forever. So I think a lot of people need to let go of this, like, it's been different, it was so much better in the past, and really embrace now, because so many people from like that were listening to it for a long time kind of have this mental block that nothing is going to be good enough like it used to be.
Yeah, I think with our own performances, it's nice that we're recognised for being people that still play that classic trance, some classic trance, like more so underground like trance classics rather than the obvious ones to play, like, you know, Carte Blanche or Guriella or Madagascar or something.
The stuff that you hear like, I haven't heard this in forever, and you remember that.
It's something that, I mean, for instance, we play so many tracks in our 5-hour set from Argentina that are well over 10 years old. 3 Drives Carrera 2 was 2002. Above and Beyond, Far From In Love was from around that period. Satellite was 2004. Trying to rack my brain through that set. The second track, it's kind of like the opening one, was Saints and Sinners Peace, Michael Wood's mix, 2001 period. So yeah, a lot of stuff we play is from those years gone by and mixed in with our current stuff, as well as really great tracks that are being made by people at the moment. John Askew Plush, for instance, is an incredible track. So yeah, it's nice to play a real hybrid of stuff, and I think people like us for that reason.
Heard a lot of positive feedback on that set. A lot of people said that it brought them back to an older time, of a lot of things they haven't heard in a long time, and it was refreshing to hear some of that stuff that you don't hear anymore out live.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of being stuck in the past. I think it's a case of respecting and remembering the past, and remembering what's got us to where we are today, and paying tribute to it, and
that's being a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, this music is special and it's timeless, and it's still. I mean, there's some tracks you'd have to make reworks of to play today because the production quality of them back then was. It
would just sound like you just wouldn't.
It wouldn't sound right mixed into a. You know, if I tried to mix for instance, a new John Askew track into a track that was made in 1998 or 99, the dynamics of the kick and the bass would just cause the energy to go down. So you'd end up having to you would do it by a long mix or a long transition, so the energy just doesn't go like when you do a quick mix. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of reworks that are being made of older tracks and stuff too.
I mean, that's what actually Paul did. He did the Transmission album with all the reworks, and he was trying to rework a lot of songs that, not the typical stuff that you hear, a lot of the classics. He did a whole rework album and everything, and did a tour. So he was trying to kind of rebirth, I guess, a lot of tracks, you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know, I can't see specifically where things are heading in terms of trance itself. Obviously, the things Faddy's doing are great. John O'Callaghan with his Subculture Nights.
Very popular.
Simon's a bit different because he likes the psytrance sound, and he's then sometimes.
Well, that's also blowing up too.
Yeah, and that's getting really big. And then there's other people that are now sort of following him with psytrance or copying him, or however you want to look at it. He was the one who started off this psytrance thing.
Didn't he say in an interview with Armin a couple of years back?
Yeah, 2000. It was a State of Trance 450, I think.
Okay.
So 400 or 450. It was in Toronto, and he said, I'm playing psytrance, and I think Armin's reaction was, that's it's a little bit risky, and he's like, no, I think it's the future.
And like,
I believe now. Look at it now. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's guys that have been producing psytrance for ages, Asterix.
Yeah, but they kind of stay
projection.
like.
These guys have been in it from the start, and they've not changed their style. But I know Simon had always wanted to do psytrance for a long time, so it's really good to see that now being really popular, and you've got these guys that are coming in. Interactive Noise has been really
and to see Fatty heavily
stuff. Fatty's pushing a lot of stuff, so it's become a bit more diverse than just uplifting trance sounds.
It's almost like Simon kind of brought the psytrance to the more mainstream, if you want to say, because like if you're not familiar with psytrance, you wouldn't really know that there's like a whole underground world where astral projection. There's festivals all over the world, and a lot of that kind of stuff kind of has stayed under the radar, and I feel like certain DJs are bringing it to light.
I think what Simon's done is, without a doubt, if there's one person in the industry that's not the Armin van Buuren level, the Tiesto level, that's been very much like a leader and done innovative things. Sorry, Jesus. Who's done innovative things at a very high risk of possibly losing some fan base or criticism. It's been Simon Patterson, without a doubt. He's the sound that he did with all the chopped up vocals and the thump, Miss You, Taxi, Latico, all those tracks. Then once everyone else, not everyone else, but once people were starting to then produce that sound, he just switched to something else, and then people then
he kind of got everybody on the bandwagon and left it.
I think he doesn't. I think not. He deserves so much credit for that. To be honest, I think.
I agree.
He did something really. He's always been sort of out there on his own, doing what he believes in, and it all seems to be paying off because people end up loving it, and loads of people end up sort of being inspired, or people want to copy that sound because it's cool and it's cutting edge. And I definitely feel like it's something that needs to be sort of said, and I've got nothing but respect for him for that.
Very nice. Okay, so you're in New York for a little while longer. Actually, tomorrow you said you're flying out to Vegas.
Yeah,
so you're staying in the US, but you're out of New York finally.
Yeah, but then I'm coming to Atlanta in 2 weeks.
Okay, what are you doing there?
I have a gig. I'm doing a 5-hour set.
Ah, another one.
Off the back of Argentina, it's a 5-hour set. We had some real nice feedback from promoters and people saying that they'd love us to do that in X, Y, and Z place.
That's for Unity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm familiar with them.
I'm really looking forward to it, actually. Really looking forward to it. And yeah, I did notice that I've got a hole in my sock. So
that's fine.
like Steve Aoki,
I have no shoes on.
I think I'm gonna ask for 6 pairs of socks on my rider.
Okay, listen to that, Unity. He wants 6 pairs of socks.
6 pairs of boxer shorts, and 2 cakes, an inflatable life raft.
What else?
There was a lot on there. I had
it was a little ridiculous.
Like crazy. I mean, why would you need 6
real
pairs
DJ skills?
Just bring it out. It's fascinating. Why would my theory is this? Okay, for a DJ to request 6 pairs of boxers and 6 pairs of socks on their rider, it's got it has to be something to do with he must wear a pair of those. A pair every day until the next gig.
Every Saturday he needs a new pair. So that makes sense.
6 days until the next gig, and then you just constantly.
And underwear. It's like, hey, I never spent underwear in my life.
Guy must go through 365 pairs of boxer shorts a year.
He probably just throws them out afterwards. I'm gonna get 6 more on Saturday.
I can't even afford new socks. So I'm just. There we are.
Oh god. Okay, so you have Atlanta. You have anything else planned? Even back overseas? And are you gonna head back to the UK?
Have to go back to the UK in November because I need to work on some new tracks. We've got a lot going on. We've got a remix of Ocean Lab Clear Blue Water that we premiered on our Open Up guest mix for Simon this week. We just teased a bit of the breakdown. Excuse me. That's going to be a really, really good track. I'm really happy with how it's sounding. We've got a collab with the Noble Six, Andrew, really good friend of ours, great producer. That's going to be coming out on FSOE maybe towards the end of the year.
Okay.
We've also got our own label, Mythology, that we're launching next month with Temple of Artemis.
Okay. Cool.
And we want to do a reversion, 2014/15, whenever we get around to it, version of Aztec.
Oh, okay, cool.
Updated version, because it lacks a bit of dynamics in the bass and kick area and energy when we're mixing it. So we're gonna improve that and get it up to sort of today's sound and what we're capable of doing now. So we've got a new male vocal track with Jules to do, as well as the other one I mentioned earlier, Lifting Me Up. We've got a collab with Adam Ellis that we need to finish off. That's 3/4 the way through.
There's another one that's blew up.
And I've heard, since I've been away, I've had a couple of ideas that have come into my head about things that I want to work on. Some really nice. I listen to a lot of soundtrack music from TV shows or films, and I hear these incredible chord progressions and stuff, and it's like, well, that's like really inspiring. Yeah, how can I kind of sort of? I mean, I think a lot of music's inspired by other things and that.
Life.
So yeah. So I've heard some really cool things that I really want to bring into our music.
Okay, you seem busy.
Yeah, there's not enough time though, that's the thing. I wish there was more time to do things, and like the combination of playing gigs as well as my own personal travel time where I want to see things and hang out with people, and as well as work, and then factoring in family and friends and girlfriend, etc. kind of stuff. So it's a balance.
Did you have a good time in New York?
I did. I had a great time in New York. Really, really great time. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to come back.
Any plans to come back?
I think so, yeah. It's being organised at the moment. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I had a great time here. I like New York a lot.
New York is not everybody's cup of tea. And most people that never been here and they come see, they really do like what they see here. Not even just the trance scene, but just the whole city itself. Some are overwhelmed, depending where they're coming from. I've heard like a lot of different reviews on New York. I guess since you actually kind of got to see the other side of the coin, because most people come here for a day or two. They're here for the gig, they spend a day or two here, they see all the typical tourist stuff, and then they're out. You kind of had time to just really do whatever you wanted to.
Yeah. That's why I like the balance I've got in life, where I don't have to do a DJ gig and then all of a sudden fly back 2 days after or a day after or go somewhere else. So it's quite nice at the moment at the level. Obviously we want to progress and become, do more gigs in different countries and be more busy and stuff, and reach out to as many people as we can in the world about music. But right now it's quite nice going somewhere, for instance, like I said, Argentina or Colombia, and being able to stay there for a couple of weeks
and really see the country,
get to experience the country.
Yeah.
I think if I could travel the world for the next couple of years at the level we're at, and do maybe one gig every month in a different place, and then
do whatever in between.
And then in between, fill time in between, but actually travel in that place. And then if it gets to a point where we're doing more gigs and I'm missing out on travel time, at least I would have done quite a lot of it.
You had time. You took advantage of the time that you had.
Yeah, because I see Faddy and he's just like, he's always
crazy
on the go, and you know, he's just one place to another, hotel, airport, out, and I can't really imagine going somewhere, for instance, like Mexico City or Argentina or Colombia, all these places that have got so much to see and experience,
and not have
USA,
a chance to do it.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere in the world that's outside of your own country, there's things to see. I mean, even UK, there's so many places I've not seen, but I can't think of anything worse than just seeing airports, clubs, and hotels.
That's your life, yeah.
All over the world, and never actually getting to experience that much outside of that. So I'm very, very keen to see as much as I can in the world, and just make the most of what I'm doing, really.
Okay. Do you have anywhere that you would you consider a dream destination or dream gig, or?
Argentina was the dream
Argentina
gig,
was,
yeah.
okay.
Very much so. Really, really meant a lot to me to play there last year, and it's still, funny enough, it's still the dream gig kind of thing. It's whenever a booking comes in for Argentina, it's like so special. But if I take Argentina out of the equation, I really want to go to Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I think there's plans to do something
cool.
next year, so it's all being organised at the moment. But I really want to go to New Zealand in particular, because I love the Lord of the Rings films and the Hobbit films, and the scenery there is stunning. So if there's a way that I can do a couple of gigs in Australia and then do one in New Zealand and then have like a month off or 2 months off like I have in America, and just travel all over. Mainly the South Island is where they say most of the stuff was filmed. So I want to go to Auckland and see some things there, but generally speaking, South Island is where I want to spend most of my time. So
yeah, Australia, New Zealand. Well, maybe mainly Australia has seemed to have a little. I've been noticing a sprinkle of trance here and there. We've seen a lot more gigs.
I think New Zealand's, from what I'm told, is very quiet on the gig front. They have a couple of DJs come in once every couple of months or something. Australia seems to be more busy. Obviously now they've got Stereosonic as well, which is massive over there. So it seems like a lot more going on in Australia than New Zealand. But New Zealand, from what everyone I know has been there and what I've seen of it, is one of the most beautiful places on earth with scenery. But then America's got that with Montana and Utah. Yeah,
there's beautiful places here that a lot of us Americans take advantage.
Yeah, so it's just a case of seeing it all, I think.
So you're heading out to Vegas. How long are you going to be in Vegas for?
Probably like 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
And it's my 30th birthday.
Oh.
Next a week today. So I've met a girl and I like her a lot.
Oh, that is so cute.
I'm going to meet her for the first time on my 30th birthday. We spoke a lot on the phone and FaceTime, WhatsApp.
That's exciting. So. And she's in Vegas or she's out in West? She's in LA. Okay, so you're going to go to LA.
See how it goes.
Very nice. Well, hope it works out.
Yeah, thank you. Me too.
So is there anything else you want to talk about or wanted to just mention?
No, I mean, I think we've covered it all.
Yeah, I've covered a lot. This is progressively gone from day to night.
One thing that I always seem to... I don't get frustrated with it, but this year a lot of people have been like, oh, you're back, and Faddy in interviews, you guys, great to have you back, and loads of people have been like, the Neptune Project are back, and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, we never really went anywhere. We just didn't produce at the volume that we did when we kind of started, and it was personal reasons for both of us. But I guess if you have a little bit of a hiatus, or
you kind of look like you fell off and then you're back.
Now it's like
easiest
now
way
you're doing
describe
like your second wave kind of thing. It never really felt like that with us. It was a case of we didn't feel like we stopped.
You were not in the public eye as much.
Yeah, it was just it was just a difficult time for us, and personal reasons, nothing to do with our friendship or our music or anything. It was just external things going on, and it feels good to be back doing what we're doing. And I say we're back, but just producing more and doing what we know we can do, and seeing tracks like Lost in My Tears and Pink Floyd remix and the stuff we've done with Polly this year just be really
successful.
Yeah,
and motivate you.
Yeah, it does, and the mixes, the feedback. The thing that's made me the most happiest this year is the feedback we've had from our mixers. I think the 5-hour set in Argentina, the guest mix we did on Open Up this week, the other sets we've done, just people seem to really connect to them. Really good feedback, and that's what we're really happy about, because I think people tended to associate us as being more so producers than DJs, and we've always known what we're capable of when we DJ, when we play in clubs. It took a while for us to start getting that kind of opportunity, and for promoters to start booking us and stuff, because we're not the type, and we're still not the type, to be blowing our own trumpet on social media and being like, look at us, and a lot of people are fake likes and YouTube views.
Yeah, buying likes and
manipulation, all that
never
kind of
ending war about all that stuff.
Yeah, and we just stayed out of all that, and I ended up actually speaking out quite openly about it all and our own personal views. So we kind of kept ourselves in the shadows on the whole social media front a little bit, and we should have been a bit more active in that area, but we're not the kind of type to be whoring ourselves.
So there's a very thin line you walk with social media.
Yeah,
where you're either going to be, it's going to be negative or it's going to be positive.
Yeah.
And you got to try to figure out what best way to go about it is for you.
Yeah, and I feel like that area we were a little bit
neglected it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, just didn't do it as much as other producers, DJs did, and kind of been like, well, how are they getting these gigs and what are they doing that we're not? And a lot of it stemmed down to sort of social media. And yeah, I think now that we've got a team behind us and we've got an agency and management and that, it's a lot easier to do things and have other people push you and not have to sort of be there being like, look at us, look at us, look at us all the time.
Alright.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, well, I want to thank you for sitting down with me for who even knows how long we've been talking at this point.
No, you're welcome. Anytime.
And we look forward to, on behalf of Kidson and New York, hope to see you back soon and look forward to seeing everything you have going on.
Thank you.
Hope to see a lot of good stuff come from you guys.
You're welcome. Thanks very much.
No problem. Thanks.
Cheers. Hey, I'm Dan from Neptune Project and I'm here with Kidson Media and I hope you enjoy the interview. Thanks for watching.